Hello SONM community, welcome to question and answer session. And here we got Igor Lebedev, CTO of SONM, and me, Vitaly, content manager. And we're going to answer a question that we have been collecting in Slido and Twitter. We have 3 lists of questions, and I think we have to limit this Q&A session by 1 hour, because we have to rest a bit. Yesterday, the big thing happened. The crypto IIS have been released, and how do you feel about it?
I feel very well. I'm excited that we managed to keep the deadline and release on date. It was hard. We were working a lot in the recent days and weeks, but it's released. So the software is ready. The software which we plan to launch on LiveNet is already there. So we just will spend now 1 month on public testing, and then we are ready to go in public. So you may give it a try today. You may see how it will look for people, like the graphical interface or how it will work. It still uses test tokens, but you may get an understanding of what's going on and prepare what's important, because in the next month, in 30 days, we will launch it on Live Network, and you probably want to start from the first day. So now you have an opportunity to test the software on your machines and just try it, probably help us fix some bugs. So it's a good time to give it a try.
And actually, about bugs, we have one question. Auto installation has errors. When you could fix this?
This is in the software development, you don't say that you have a bug when you will fix it. You must say what the bug is, because of course there are bugs, because this is still an alpha version of the new release. So if you want this to be fixed, you will either wait until someone else will find it and describe it, or you just help us and describe what the error is. So we have a public chat and Telegram for the beta testing. You may join it and describe the error, or somehow send us the link, the description, because we have to reproduce it. Because when we see a word error, we just, of course there are error, but how do we find what's happened on your machine? You may help us.
So they have to provide some information,
yes,
like operation system?
Yes, the typical approach is when you encounter a bug, and if you honestly want it to be fixed, you must help the software developers to reproduce this bug. So you tell what you did with the system, how it happened, what was it like, why you think this is a bug. So describe the conditions and the circumstances.
So the public testing has begun. Go try it and ask any questions in our beta test chat. We have a couple questions about master nodes. Where do the SONM token rewards from running a master node come from?
As we were describing in the article, there are 2 types of master nodes. One of them is gates, which is like specific for SONM. Gates to transfer tokens between sidechain and master chain. And there are like typical master nodes, which are like the same thing in the other blockchain projects, the block producing master nodes. So in case of the gates, the fees and the reward for master nodes and the gates are coming from the fees from the withdrawals and deposits from Ethereum master chain to SONM blockchain and backwards. So whenever a person is moving tokens in each direction, a small fee, currently less than 1%, is excluded from his amounts and transferred to the master nodes operator. In case of block producing master nodes, the fees would be collected from the transaction fees on the market. It's not transaction fees on the transactions on the blockchain, but like a higher level entity, the deals. When you place like deals with a party on the marketplace, a fee will be collected from the deal amount.
So it's commission. Okay, according to your blog post, the ROI on staking is around 15%. Is this coming from transaction fee, or do we actually get a bigger total token supply over time?
No, we're not planning to make some like a new emission to make it mineable or immutable. All the SONM tokens are already minted, so the only source of the like ROI for the staking is transaction fees.
Hello guys who are watching us right now. If you have some questions, please leave a comment in the chat, YouTube chat, and we will pick it and answer. Okay, next question about Masternode. According to Masternode's report, some will wait for Ethereum to improve its scalability. Is some considering other more scalable blockchain like EOS, Tron, HPB? I never heard about HPB.
This was asked multiple times and we will answer this once again. Currently, we need a solution that is production ready. And besides all the Ethereum difficulties, it's a production ready solution which may be used by anyone and even in private or in public mode. So when you name the projects like EOS or Tron or others, you'll say just the way you ask this question seems like these systems are already working, but they are not. They are not yet even implemented. So how can we consider them if they are not even yet done? So we need to launch the system within 30 days, the software is ready, and you ask about estimating solutions which are not even implemented. I don't say even the production ready, not even adopted by the software developers of the world. They are not yet even made, so how can we estimate them? Yes, we look closely for, let's say, EOS, but they are far from being ready to use. So currently Ethereum is basically it's almost the single option if you want if you want Turing complete smart contracts. We could go for a system with non-Turing complete smart contracts, let's say NEM. We were talking with them on each conference, but we could rewrite the logic in that way, but this would not give us any benefits at this moment because still this is a monolithic blockchain like the Ethereum itself. So I don't think we will get clear benefits, but the software rewriting would take a lot of time and will take some costs for us. So this is a question about economy and reasoning. So currently we are on Ethereum, we look around, but this is a production ready solution and we like it. And with the use of our private blockchain, which we implemented now, we have some solution for the scalability problem. We'll have 0 transactions prices on our blockchain, which is Ethereum clone. So currently I think we are fine with scalability. It would be enough for us because we have our own blockchain linked with master chain.
Exactly. People are interested. Why we hear nothing from Ikemi? Because she is very busy doing marketing, guys. Really very busy. She's upstairs right now and she's doing marketing. And it's actually an answer for a question when marketing. It's already going. Okay, hey guys, I'm planning on buying a Masternode. What type of computer setup works best to be able to run the Masternode?
This is described. We have an article about the Masternodes.
Yes, there is.
Currently, the option, the closest option which will be implemented is the Gates Masternode. So the description for the technical requirements is in the article. So check out our blog.
MS-DOS. Okay.
Yeah, we could tell it, but it's already written, so it would be more easier for you just to read.
There is no special requirements. It's an average computer.
There is requirements from the security point of view. So
that's. Yes.
It's not the important thing, the computer itself, but it's important about the security.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good question about the. Can you explain what is an infrastructure as a service? Like when you see 4 letters IaaS, this is a typical short word for typical cloud services, which is called an infrastructure as a service. When we talk about cloud computing, there is a stack of approaches. What is a cloud? The cloud is when you rent some computing powers somewhere in the data center, as opposed to having them on premises or at your company somewhere nearby. So, infrastructure as a service is one of the several types of renting a machine. Infrastructure is when you rent a virtual machine or a server and you may install your own operating system as you like. You may basically install all the software you would like and you control it yourself. The other options are, let's say, platform as a service. In that case, you don't install operating system, you don't install libraries, you just put your script on the hosting and it somehow works, it somehow scales automatically. So, and there is also software as a service. It's when you're already using a ready product. Let's say Gmail is a software as a service, because they provide you mail as a service, which is a software. Platform as a service is for software developers, and infrastructure as a service is for DevOps, for system administrators. So if you wonder what is infrastructure as a service, you probably want to know about what is cloud computing about, because this is what we are doing here.
Yeah, it's just a comfortable way to explain IT professionals what we are actually doing. Infrastructure as a service is a popular term that we are using to explain. Why don't you make some marketing on World Cup? Football?
I don't think football is like relevant for what we do here.
Fog computing and football. But there are one letter.
It would be expensive and not efficient.
Yeah,
be sure it would be expensive.
Are you going to, I don't know, visit some clubs?
Okay. I'm personally not like, I don't watch football. Just don't do it.
And I'm too busy to do it.
I prefer hockey.
Yes. Okay, the next question about fog computing challenge. How is it going? Did participants find any new exciting, surprising results or ideas? It's very interesting because we have no reports on our blog or social networks.
Yeah, you know, after all, even that we have probably 50 people in the company now, everyone is very busy at this moment. So the computing challenge is split between the advisors, which all of them take some special topics, like I have some topics and other people have some topics. And we currently did not like summarize the results at this moment. We will probably soon do this, but at this moment we didn't summarize this. I cannot give you the examples at this moment. I don't have this information on my fingertips, because some other advisors are doing this, like in the spare time which they have among their work. So probably wait until we publish some results. From what I've heard, there is an interesting solution for content delivery network, because we didn't have such a solution, but we had a talk with interesting people who are doing content delivery network, and now we understand how this use case is working. And there are some other interesting cases like with databases, but still we need some time to summarize this. So not now.
But there is some interesting cases.
There are some interesting cases, of course. There are some difficulties. Let's say we had a challenge. One of the tasks, two tasks were, one of them was to deploy exec on SONM, and another was to deploy Golem. And what we find now is that exec currently can't be used by public hardware suppliers. So we cannot currently deploy it on SONM because it's not available for the public. I mean, to be a supplier is not available for everyone. When it will be available, it will be in the September or October of this year. So let's say this challenge task would be delayed until this system is ready for supplying by anyone.
Could you please explain us what's the difference between fog and cloud?
Cloud computing is when calculations are done in the data center, in some specific locations of the world on some specific hardware. So specific locations, specific servers of the enterprise grade. This is typically owned by one single company who runs a data center. But in the fog, and when you use cloud, you are limited by the locations, you are limited by the hardware, and by the network bottlenecks. In fog computing, it happens on the places. Like, let's say if you have a factory, or you have a home, or you have an office, the calculations are done near you, not in the data center, but in the same city, probably on the same street, on the computers nearby. This is the idea of the fog. So when you have some really heavy calculations, which when you can't just transfer all the data to the data centers, it happens sometimes when you just have so many data that you can't transfer it. You may process it locally near your location on the nearby nodes, and this is fog computing. And then you partly process it and just send the summarized results to the cloud. And so this first stage of work is fog computing, just an example. And that machines are maybe owned by anyone. They may be of different like characteristics, different vendors. Currently, some companies, let's say in the Open Fog Consortium, they are trying to implement their solutions for fog computing, but still there are like a lot of differences in the approaches, because most of the companies work for the enterprise fog computing. It's when all the devices are inside an enterprise network. But we work for the open fog computing when we have nodes publicly owned by different people, not only the enterprise.
There is actually one more question about fog computing and promotion of the technology from Roman, Twitter user. I could imagine that universities or institutions would be interested to use the network to speed up scientific calculations. Unfortunately, the topic of fog computing is so new that they probably don't know about it. How are you planning to expand the product?
Basically, they know about it. We take part in the Open Fog Consortium, and there are some universities that work in this consortium. They're from China, from Japan, from USA, and from Europe. So universities know, probably not all, but people in there, they've heard about fog computing, and they're doing currently, they do research, they do test beds to try how the fog computing approach will help to solve their tasks. So they implement like test cases. Test beds. At this moment, the situation in the state when they are testing and evaluating this approach. So currently, there is a few cases of the existing software that may be called like capable of doing fog computing. So this software for fog computing is to be written. So currently, universities and companies are considering this approach and doing tests and research.
Another question from YouTube chat. Are you sure that SONM network is fast enough for games and web hosting?
It depends on the games, it depends on the hosting cases, it depends on the hardware supply, because we have different suppliers. We attract mining rigs, we attract home users, but as well we attract data centers excessive capacity. So, and if we talk about games or other use cases, each use case is unique and has some different like requirements for the network speed and for any other capacities. So for some gaming projects, this would not be feasible at all. Let's say for probably some very fast real-time games, it would not be possible to run them on home computers, but probably it would be possible to run them on data centers. But still, it's not the case when you just take a gaming server and just directly deploy. You have to rewrite some things because to make use of this network. There is a lot of software that may be run as it is without modifications, but when we talk about particular gaming servers, particular games, I think my opinion is that it is difficult to run the existing games as it is on some network or any other related networks, particularly in the gaming. For gaming, the software must be in some way modified until we are able to run this. But still it depends, because we have different suppliers and different games. Probably turn-based games, not real-time games, are perfectly fine to run this network.
We have one related question about gaming from Eduard. Is it possible to connect devices with some network to increase speed? For example, can I connect my gaming PC to the network to increase rendering in games?
No, this is not working this way. Let's say if you have an existing PlayStation or PC with games or existing games on your Steam account, there is no way how you just like push a button and add some network to increase your speed of gaming. This is not working this way. The software, or in this case the game, must be capable of using this external software or external computing powers. If the game is not capable of using these resources, you cannot just add some network to it. Is the same way that as you cannot just add sandwich to a game, because sandwich is a game and different things. So if some game would like to be different ways. So I mean the developer of the game, the software developer of the game, they must adopt their software so that it may use additional capabilities of SONM. It's not working out of the box, particularly for games. It may work for web, for different software, but not for games. So the answer is no, it's not working that way. Probably new games, if they're designed, keeping in mind the SONM network, could be using these powers, but not existing games.
Okay, it's sad. I thought it's possible. Or maybe I could shoot better when I connect it
not this way.
to some network.
Not this way at this moment.
Okay, okay. Okay, guys, welcome to who just joined the Q&A. Welcome, ask your question in YouTube chat and we will answer it. And we have one question from Mark Crypto. Who was the mining giant where we were in talks with?
We were talking on consensus with different mining companies, and the names I could tell, I told on the Twitter. The names I did not tell, I could not tell. So I told you everything I could. When people were like ready to disclose their names and make a selfie with them. There were some talks when people did not like to make it public, so I cannot tell you about them, so sorry. But we were visited by Bitfury, we were talking with big cloud mining companies with GPUs, and they are waiting to try our solution.
Okay, is, in your opinion, SONM talking cheap now? How do you think?
I wouldn't talk about this. I wouldn't talk about token price, about its value, because this is completely irrelevant for the product I'm doing.
Yeah, and one SONM is equal one SONM.
One SONM is always one SONM.
Yes, it's our favorite answer. How about other software such as an OS instead of gaming? What do you mean, Eduard?
Didn't understand the question.
It's like, can you speed up your operation system while connecting to SONM?
You know, to understand what SONM is doing, the infrastructure, the service that we are doing, the crypto infrastructure, the service, you have to understand how the cloud is working. Because the questions that you ask so that you just speed up the game or something about operating system, it works pretty much the same as for the hosting. So if you purchase a VPS, virtual private server on some hosting, you cannot use it to do whatever things you like. So you may deploy some software, some Linux software, and you may deploy software that will make benefit for you, but you don't use it to make a sandwich, you don't use it for different other things, so it's not like a magic that will do everything for you. So just understand what is cloud technologies. Probably I won't be able to explain everything in this topic. I can start explaining what is cloud, what is infrastructure. I can do this, and I'm trying to do this in chats and everywhere, but still you have to do your own research. And if you do your research and find what's cloud, you will understand this.
And we have one question that we had discussed in our chats about compatibility with mobile phones in some way.
We have discussed it many times again.
Yes,
mobile phones are not optimized to be a source of computing power. They are optimized to be lightweight, to be beautiful, but they are expensive. Let's say the number of dollars you pay per one computing power is too high. So if you have some money to invest in computing powers, you'll probably purchase just PCs. But if you have a mobile phone, if you will use it in 24/7 mode, you will burn it out in 3 months, it will explode, or just it will go bad. It's not. It could not be used to make profits out of it. Technically, we could run some tasks there, but there is no profit in doing this at all.
I can't even imagine a client who could rent your phone capacity.
It's the same thing as let's say we are developing Uber, and you say, can I use Uber with my Lambo? Yes, you can. We could adopt Uber for your Lambo for its fast speed.
Another case.
But you don't use Lambo to just drive common passengers around, because you'll burn more fuel and you may just get the revenues, and after 1 year you'll have to pay for just repairing the car, and your earnings with Uber will not cover your Lambo repairing. So this is the same case for the phones.
I think phone is more like bicycle.
No, they're expensive.
In Uber.
I mean, if we take comparable computing powers of a phone and PC, the phone would be 10 times more expensive. So there is not at all no sense to do this. If you have an iPhone and you think you can earn money, yes, you probably can, but you will earn 5 cents per month with your iPhone, and it will be destroyed after 3 months. So just as an example, you'll earn 15 cents for 3 months, and then your iPhone would be dead because it's not ready to work in 24/7 mode.
Okay, our community wants to know when T-shirt giveaway, and I can answer. Actually, we have, I don't know, 3 questions about T-shirts in our list. And okay, about the last giveaways and contests, all the T-shirts has been sent. The Russian Post Service, in some cases, the customs declined declined our boxes, and it's not going anywhere right now. It's about 10 pieces has been declined, and we will resend it. Yes, we will resend it, I don't know, next week, maybe. And the next T-shirt giveaway, we are considering this summer, end of summer, for the next giveaway. And we have to make some contest for it. It's like, we're not going to give it for free. We are trying to make it a bit harder. So yes, you can expect merchandise giveaway. Okay, the next question about Operation A. Is it possible to share some additional stats relating to Operation A? Like
No.
Total data transmitted, unique IPs, total resources. Is it possible?
Technically it is possible, but we are not going to do this because we don't need to do this. It's already done. What we wanted to test was tested. We wanted to test the system for this use case. It's proven itself as ready to use this for this use case, so it's done.
And we already have summarized it on our blog.
Did we publish an article about the results?
Yes.
So okay, we
Yes.
already have an article about the results. So all the statistics that we would like to make public, they are made
Yes,
public.
they already. Okay. A question about KYC. Will I be able to use a Telegram passport to pass KYC in SONM?
Yeah, we've heard about the new feature of Telegram API to provide a Telegram passport, and we will evaluate and probably use this for a KYC. But this is not in the direct plans for this month, but we will closely look for it, and probably we will do this integration in some time. Probably this year, if it will be going fine.
Another question. When fiat to SONM, it's about fiat money. Will it be possible to buy computing power?
When it will be possible to buy with dollars?
Yes,
computing power and so on. So yeah, the problem with this question is that this is not really regulated in any country. So there's no a right approach existing that you can just use it and make it possible. So no right solution. So currently we are doing some research with lawyers, and Oleg is doing this research particularly. And what we have at this moment, we already will edit on the Changely and on some other exchanges and changers where it is possible to pay with your credit card. So technically this is already possible, but the fees collected are still high at this moment. So currently it is already possible, and we are working to find a solution with low fees. And the problem is that it's not regulated, and it's difficult to do this in any normal countries. So if you know someone is doing this and doing this for fun, just tell us, because we don't see working examples on how to do this. No one is doing this. I claim that no one is doing this like in the right way. The options that we had, let's say Changely, are already connected.
Yes.
But we are working on this.
Yeah. Can you speak about those 50 mysterious partnerships that was announced at Consensus?
This was not announced as partnerships. It was said that companies are waiting for system to be launched, and this is like related to announce us a new partnership. SONM is a system to be used by people, by suppliers and the customers. And what we need is not partnerships, we need customers. We need companies and persons who will use the system for their business, for their work. So the companies we were talking about are companies who already heard about SONM, whom we were pitching these technologies, and they already accepted to try it. So currently they are waiting to try this when we will go to live network. They already accept that they probably will use it if the system we implement would be the same as we pitched them, so they will use it. So that companies are waiting for the LiveNet launch. And I cannot tell you any more details because it's not polite or like correct to say anything when it's not like, when we don't have a work started like for the public. It's currently an interest from many companies who would like to give it a try. I cannot tell you them, because it's not correct and not polite.
Okay, I think one interesting question from Andrei Bulgakov, this guy from Russia probably. Will SONM run any promo task on the testnet, like Quake server?
We will not run promo tasks, but we will provide real working tasks for the LiveNet. We already have a working solution for commercial render with Redshift at Deadline. We already have a working commercial software for images recognitions on SONM developed by our partner. We are working on a content delivery network solution on top of SONM and other cases. So, you know, if we run Quake on top of SONM, that would not help for new customers to come to our system. So we better go for some real applications working on SONM and present them. So this would be probably a better deal. So we are thinking that way. So we are thinking to give you examples of real applications working on SONM. I think this is better than just Quake.
Yeah, and we are preparing some stories about real tasks running on SONM. And actually we have a question about this. Why don't you explain SONM to investors that have no knowledge about it in simple way? They would get interested in it after they learning how awesome the project is. And actually we are working right now, we are preparing a series of materials that will explain in a simple way how SONM works in different use cases, and we are going to release these stories after the LiveNet release, because there is no sense to publish it before this. Okay, we have to get the system operational on a LiveNet, and then we will start information campaign about this.
Now what I wanted to add here is 2 points. First, we explain a lot. We explain every day in our public chats. Let's say I'm talking mostly every day in our chats and describing what we do and answering any questions. So we do a lot of describing and a lot of explanations. Second, we have a documentation portal which is updated for the new version of the system. So anyone who would like to know what's going on may just read the docs. And this is a good way. But still, I don't think it is possible to explain completely from the scratch for a person who is not understanding cloud technologies and not understanding everything else. To explain the whole thing, we have some explanations which are already on our website. This is a distributed fog computing platform. Why it's not enough? So if you want to understand it completely, you have to understand cloud technologies and fog computing and the computing in general and what's the blockchain and everything. So if you want to go to the details, you have to learn it and understand this. but we explain a lot, but we cannot educate everyone. This is not possible, so we already do a lot of this. And the second thing I wanted to say is that we need customers. We need people who will buy tokens to use the system, because constantly attracting new and new, how you say them, investors is a path to nowhere, because all the new investors come in, they're asking for more investors to raise the token price. This is like self-supporting process, positive process, and it never ends. So the solution is to find customers, not to bring you new investors, because current existing investors want new investors to come to raise the token price. Then the next investors will ask for more investors. So this is going nowhere. We need customers who will use the system.
And it's actually about our point of view on marketing. I figured out that most of our community members thinks that marketing is price manipulation, stuff like this, or something. But we see marketing as a promotion of our product for our potential clients, like those who will use rendering, who will use machine learning, who will use infrastructure as a service. And currently in Crypto.is release, we are aiming at crypto projects.
Not only crypto projects.
Not only, but...
Not only, but I mean that the whole CoinMarketCap projects, most of them can be run on SONM, most of them, not all. So this is like an ideal type of applications that could be run on SONM today, but this is not the case. With the release of the mainnet within 30 days, we will be able to run typical applications as well, and we basically focus on them. We want to go for real business application usages, not only cryptocurrency projects, but still they are also possible.
The question from Larry Taskula: when the code in Git will become beautiful?
What's wrong with it? This code works. Why do you care about what's written in the comments? This was not written for you. This was written by the software developers for them. Why do you at all care about this?
But
is this code working? If this code is working, this is fine code. Don't read the comments if they are not for you, or if you read them as they were for you, so then you will understand what's going on.
But I'm actually glad that we have a community member who reads our GitHub and can, I don't know, ask this kind of questions. We think that this code is good enough, it works.
This code works, and it is a good quality of code in the way it works. So you don't care about what's written in the comments.
Is there something in the comments?
It's not relevant for the topic we're discussing here.
Okay. I'll switch the topic. To how close are you working with Cisco, Microsoft, and other companies working together on fog computing? Was the consensus a success?
These are two distinct questions. I'll answer them one by one. Cisco and Microsoft are all part of the Open Fog Consortium, and we take part in this consortium. So we don't have official partnerships or relations with these companies, but their representatives work in these consortium work groups, and we take part in them as well. So we know them, we discuss some topics, we do some things, but this is not partnership, this is not like, this couldn't be called in any way officially. Just some work in some work groups. This is it. So about consensus. Yes, I think consensus was a success. You may give it your own answer to these questions if you just define the goals of the consensus. You may wonder, what were the goals of the consensus? And again, this was described many times in our chats.
Yeah.
The goal of the consensus was to bring word about SONM. So the way how we organized the booth at consensus, the way how we explained to people, we had a presenter, we had a lot of people at the booth, we had a bar, we had a lot of merchandise products there, and we had 2 speeches. So we made a very good coverage about SONM. Everyone on consensus now knows about what we are doing, and what is important, we got a lot of contacts of their suppliers who will join our system. probably we'll get a big percent of the hash rate of the GPU mining at all if we manage to deliver the software as we promised. So I think this was very successful.
And actually we got some really nice feedback from consensus participants.
Yeah, and consensus, you must understand, consensus conference was not about the customers for the SONM. Some customers are not visiting consensus. Some customers are visiting cloud conferences like CloudFest or the conference we visited in Amsterdam. They are not on consensus. So we could meet miners there, we could meet investors there. So we met both of them. I think this was a success.
Okay, one question from Eduard. What would help to get customers in some form of PriceWatch website to see the best deal? Then also put Amazon and whatnot in the comparison. Would something like this be possible to build with API? It's like the price comparison on our website. Like when you purchase the, I don't know, an instance in Amazon.
We already have this. The graphical interface that we released already gives you an ability to filter all the deals existing, all the orders or offers existing on the market, filter them by the one you need, let's say by country or by hardware specifics, and then filter them by price or sort them by price. So you may already find the best deals, and this is what you can do with the graphical interface. Or you may go to the API and do the same things. It's already working. But currently, as soon as we are on the test network, we don't have a lot of constant hardware suppliers because they don't get the real payment. So we don't have, let's say, a big pool of deals at this moment. Basically, probably we have 0 deals at this moment. I mean, 0 offers, because people would not keep the hardware connected to the test network without real rewards, but the tokens are test. So this is about testing the system. But the thing you ask is already implemented. But it's not on the website. It's in the wallet.
Okay, but about the price comparison.
How it's working in our graphical interface in our wallet? You define what hardware you require. Let's say I need a server in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I need 4 cores of CPU. I need 4 gigabytes of memory. I need 100 gigabytes of disk and the GPU.
Okay.
And it finds you all the existing offers of these characteristics.
Yes.
And then you may sort them by price. And you may get the best deal.
And I have to go on Amazon website and compare the price.
You may go and compare.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to put Amazon prices on our marketplace, right? To compare.
I understood the question. So you want us to compare our best offers with different providers? Yeah, we could possibly do this in the future. This is possible to be done in the future.
Yeah, like marketing move. When is Moon? Finally, we got this question, and I'm glad that we have new type of when type of question, when code optimized.
I think these are just random questions. You may just keep them.
Yes.
Okay, guys, if someone wants to get a real answers, just give us a good question. If you ask when code is optimized, this is completely irrelevant and random question because code is optimized. So what's wrong with it? What is the system you don't like?
Yeah, I can confirm that it is optimized because every day I hear how developers argue with each other for 1 line of code or 2 lines of extra codes. Like, hey, why you realize this function in 3 lines, not in 1? It's like they are always fighting for the quality of the code. That's true. It's my experience. And they actually saying bad words while they are arguing. Okay, the next question.
When Lambo?
Yeah, when Lambo.
From the same person who asked when Moon.
Interesting. But mixing this filter system with current centralized options is a great way to get new people.
We got your idea. This is a way how storage website is working. They compare AWS cloud storage pricing with their pricing, and this clearly shows that they have 2 times price edge. So probably this is indeed a good idea, and probably we will want to do this in the future.
Yeah, it's actually a good idea.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. How is the crypto IS behaving on the testnet? Did you find any problem? And actually, I have some additions to this question. Right, once we speak about this. In crypto IS release, you target for providers, customers are mining companies and others in crypto environment. When mainnet release for general purpose is released, have you defined what kind of companies will be your first target? Okay, first, how it behaves on the testnet and what are targets on the mainnet?
We have released crypto IS just yesterday in the evening, so I cannot just tell you for the situation for now because it's just only running for 1 day. At this moment, of course, we have bugs to be solved. So currently we are working on fixing errors and bugs. And this is normal for the upcoming month. This is what we are going to do. All the features are implemented, and the whole month we will spend fixing bugs and errors. So I think this is fine. We have our public chats for beta testing are activated. People write their questions there. People are trying to install it, and it works. So I think this is fine. About our targets for whom this release is, the test network and the mainnet network. The only difference between them is the test token and the real token. So the features are already implemented. This system is, of course, for the suppliers and for the customers. Suppliers could be anyone, but preferably people with GPUs because this is the most expensive computing resource you may rent out. So we dedicate this system in the suppliers for the GPU people. And of course, the system is for the customers. The customers could be any people or companies who have their Linux software and they want to run it cheaply on the network. We understand what companies and people we want to attract to the system. This is the companies, let's say, doing rendering with commercial render engines. And by the way, we give an ability to launch any commercial render because we give you the plain Linux with GPUs. You may run anything there. This is companies running machine learning, particularly training networks or executing neural networks, because this is a process of 2 steps. You first train, then you execute. SONM is perfect for both. SONM is good for both cases, but perfect for execution, because for execution you may just deploy and scale it on SONM. You may deploy one piece of network on hundreds of machines and do fast processing for whatever you want, for voice recognition, for video processing, for images recognition, for data sets processing. So we are targeting for that kind of companies. And they will be able to use the SONM system within 30 days with the LiveNet release. So this is it.
Nice answer. Okay, Telegram channel admin do a very good job. Thank you. They are doing their best, and right now we have a translation, online translation in Russian, and I hope our community likes it. Okay, anytime watches new kid on a blog in SONM. Hi, I'm new to SONM. Hello. Quick question, for running SONM, is static IP required or any kind of port forwarding is really needed?
No, it's not required. The rest of the question is about the same. The previous version of the system, the MVP, required you to have a public IP, but now we have fixed it. We have spent some efforts to make a system which is capable of penetrating NATs and firewalls, and you may just run it on any Linux having an internet connections. In most cases, it depends heavily on the firewall configuration and on the configuration of your router and the configuration of your company network. Because company network may be configured in really many ways. Let's say if it's a big company with paranoid security, probably SONM will not be working there because some ports may be just closed. So if you have only open traffic for web, probably your SONM worker will not work in this network, in this company network. But if you have just a direct internet connections, but just without a public IP, this will work. There are different types of network address translations that we process, and for all cases we have a working peer-to-peer solution, so you don't require public IP. No more.
we have a special technology that can avoid these limitations.
Yeah, this technology is called nut penetration or nut punching, and this
double
is
nut penetration.
Yeah, this is called double because it's done from the both sides, from the customer and from the supplier. So in that case, it's double. It's the same way as Skype is working when you have calls in peer-to-peer. The same way as torrents are working. So this is an adopted technology.
Okay, you don't have to have public IP in this release. Is it correct all customers you have so far are not real?
What is this question about?
I don't know.
The system is not yet launched in production. We couldn't technically have real customers at this moment because no customer may use the system for real work at this moment. We only have tests. We are working with companies and they are trying to adopt this technology. They are testing this technology, developing the software, so when we launch they will be ready to use it. We technically cannot have real customers at this moment, but we will have them within 30 days, so you may be sure.
Okay, but what I figured out about Anytime Watch's question that somebody is going to use his office computers to set up.
Yeah, he technically can.
Yeah.
You may use some on your work computers at office, but just make your caution so you're not caught. So.
Okay, do it on
your
your
risk.
own risk.
Yeah.
Who decides whether a task shall be whitelisted?
Currently, it's we who decide. We just provide the whitelist containers by ourselves. Probably in the future we may decentralize it, but currently it's us. When we talk about whitelist tasks, what is important to understand here is that not many tasks may be run in the whitelist mode because most of the real use cases require you to deploy some custom software. Even if it's like publicly available software, you would like to use it for your own to write data to the disk or to run tasks for you. In that case, it will be allowed to write data to the disk and probably do harm over the network. So in that case, it could not be whitelisted. Let's say there is a perfect software called Jupyter Notebook. It's web desktop for running machine learning tasks and other tasks with Python, like do some scripting for machine learning or whatever. And we may host it as a whitelist application, but we wouldn't do this because it allows you to store some data on the disks. And if you're an anonymous user, you may compromise the supplier. This is a difficult topic, so there is really a few cases when we may whitelist an application, and most of the cases is related to crypto miners, and the exceptions are there are a few exceptions to this, so there is no problem that we are whitelist on this, because if you have most of the cases you may imagine will require you to do a custom task, not a whitelist tasks.
Okay, thank you, Igor. Could you tell us more about the SONM earlier blog post related to some cases related to encrypted messaging?
We didn't have a blog post
yes.
on the encrypted messages.
Yes.
We didn't have such a blog post. We are not doing encrypted messages. We use like encrypted protocols on the network layer for the whole system working, but we are not doing some use case for encrypted messages.
Yes, Eduard, could you please clarify your question?
What do you mean?
Yes. Okay, can we buy computational power from multiple suppliers and integrate their power seamlessly? Will SONM support this integration?
Just a second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can. Of course, you can purchase computing powers from different suppliers and deploy a cluster software on top of them. Sure, you may do this. We support this. You may have multiple deals and multiple hardware rented at the same time in SONM.
So I can deploy my task on different workers and they will do.
Yeah, in the same way the hosting is working. You know, I have just realized that half of the questions that we are currently answering, they would be the same if you were asking about just the web hosting. So this is the same. You may rent 10 web hosting instances and use them for anything you like. So this is the same working in SONM. So you're really not asking us about SONM, you're asking us about typical cloud or web hosting, which we implement on our site as well.
Okay, it's almost 1 hour we are live broadcasting.
Did we cover all the questions?
No, not now. Okay, let's go forward. Have you followed the iExec release of their new marketplace? What's your opinion on that? Is it similar or different to what SONM is envisioning?
Yes, I was following this project, and I pretty much did a lot of my own research, and I did my homework about the Golem and the iExec and about some other projects, because it's obvious if I'm doing the product management, I have to know what's going on around the system, around our product. So I think I know a lot about what they are doing, and because I have my opinion about what they are doing, and probably I won't be sharing my opinion because my opinion would be obviously based, how to say, biased? How to say, when you don't have a fair opinion? Biased, yes? Okay, nevertheless. Yes, I watched the release of their version 2 marketplace. What I think, I noticed that they were talking about this as a cloud computing or computing power sold as a commodity, but on my point of view, I disagree that this is a marketplace for computing power, because the marketplace of the iExec is selling an 1 unit of execution. So when you purchase something on iExec marketplace, you purchased 1 execution of some DApp, some decentralized app, but not the computing power itself. You don't get this computing power. This is about, but the marketplace itself is in many ways similar with what we do. The difference is that on our marketplace, we rent you the whole machine. Let's say you rent a computer for 1 day or for 1 month. This is how you rent it on SONM. When you go to iExec marketplace, you pay per 1 execution of some application. Let's say I watched the presentation on the Berlin blockchain, and
it's actually the next question.
Yeah. I was watching this as well. When you go to iExec marketplace, you pay for 1 execution. Let's say you want to render something, you execute this 1 task. And he was showing the example, that the CEO was showing the example of rendering an image on their network. And in that case, they didn't rent the instance, but they were paying for the one of the executions. So he basically paid for the job of rendering an image. So I don't think that this is the computing power market. This is the execution market. A little bit different in the wordings, but this is just my opinion. But we have a lot of similarities in this case. But the difference between our system is very big. Basically, I honestly think that we have completely different customers and completely different suppliers. What I mean? I mean that all the use cases that iExec is aiming for and the suppliers that they're aiming for, they're completely different from what we aim at. Let's say when we aim for applications to run on Linux, this is what we do, and this is not what they are doing. When we go for, let's say, on SONM, you may run any commercial renderer engine which is capable to run on Linux. You may just run it and run it for hours or for days in any way you like, using Deadline or other orchestrating engines on top of that.
SONM already supports any rendering.
Yes, it's already working, because it's easy. We just provide you a Linux machine with GPUs. You may deploy any rendering software there for a cheap price. But this is not how iExec is working. iExec is providing you an opportunity to deploy decentralized app, like DApp, which are called. And this is not the same thing as just running your software. There are a number of differences. Let's say...
and you have to develop this application.
Yes, I will give you an example. If you want to host a web server, you have to deploy Nginx or Apache web server and to open a socket and receive incoming connections. You may do this on SONM on Linux, but you cannot do this as a DApp, because DApp is something which works when you call this from from your application or from your browser or from your program. You must call it explicitly, and then you pay for execution and get some results, and then it's not working. It's not. This is just the way how the apps are working. So this I honestly don't think that this is a cloud market at all. DApp is a different market. Let's say CryptoKitties is a DApp. Probably some Ethereum-based games could be called DApps. Decentralized marketplaces are DApps. But when we talk about most of the software that you probably know, software for Linux, rendering engines, these are not DApps. These are just Linux software which may run on the cloud. So what I wanted to say that we do different things. DApps is an interesting topic, and a lot of people are interested in that, and probably there is some market which I could not evaluate. But we go for a cloud market. We have completely different customers. If someone wants to do custom rendering, he will probably go to SONM. If someone wants to host whatever server type, he just can't do this as a DApp. This just don't work that way.
Okay, if we classify iExec as a IS, PS,
it's none of them.
asset.
It's none of them.
None of them. It's not.
There is a typical classification of the cloud technologies like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Probably they are some degree of the platform of the service, but in a typical platform as a service, you may host, let's say, a script, a Python script or JavaScript or whatever, and this script may work as a server or do some tasks in the background, but not in the DApps mode. DApps don't work in the background, they cannot run as servers, so they work only when you execute them. And the number of tasks which you may implement as a DApp is relatively small. It's not, the whole market is big of the different applications, but DApps is a small share. So what they do probably may be called as a platform as a service for DApps. And this is a good, let's say, niche. Probably in that space, they would be probably leaders in the DApp space. And they may provide DApps for different blockchains, not only Ethereum. They work for bringing this to RSK, which is some degree of Bitcoin blockchain, to Ethereum. Probably they may bring this to EOS. But in case of EOS, there is a question of whether this would be feasible for EOS at all, because EOS is about scalability. Probably EOS won't require additional systems for high performance computing. Probably if they manage to do EOS in the way they promise, probably this wouldn't be required for that case. So what I wanted to say is that these systems are different. I like their project. They are focused on their area, on the DApps. And DApps is an interesting topic, an interesting technology, but it's completely different from the cloud market which we're aiming for, and we have completely different set of customers. So I don't.
So to summarize, what kind of customers we aiming?
We aim at the typical. Let's say when people rent an instance on AWS, on Amazon, or on Microsoft, and rent an instance with GPU for machine learning, or for rendering, or for content delivery network, or for web hosting, they may do the same on SONM. So
it's businesses that can.
This is a well-established market. It's called cloud market.
Yeah.
It has different types of products like infrastructure, platform as a service, software as a service, and we go for infrastructure as a service. We provide virtual machines with Docker, and this is a market that I can understand. I know this. I know this market. This is really a huge market with tens of billions, on the infrastructure as a service. But this is not the DApp market. So just different customers. It's
this DApps market is more like personal things. I can go and use this service while I'm not a businessman or something, right? If I don't have something huge to host or something, I have one task, and I want to execute this with this application. Am I correct?
I will give you the examples of the apps I know. CryptoKitties. Decentralized exchange, let's say EtherDelta. It's a DApp as well.
Okay.
Some applications could be done in a similar way. I did not hear about applications that are currently, which would currently be used by real business, which would require the app approach.
So I can set up my Counter-Strike server?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Not even theoretically.
All right.
But
that's the difference.
You can write a turn-based game and run it in a DApp way, but you will have to completely develop it from scratch. But they're doing not only the apps, but high-performance computations for the apps. iExec, they provided a marketplace of not only marketplace for computing powers, how they call it, but they also provided an app store, and there is, let's say, around 20 of existing applications already there. They had a challenge for developing applications, and they have a lot of working examples of that application. I didn't try them myself, but I've seen the app store. But you must just see it with your eyes. You must check it out, the types of applications which are there. Let's say they have a video converter application, which maybe run as a DApp. So you can run it on your server for your own for free, or you may run it in their system, and probably it scales.
I think on the weekend I will make my own research and figure out how it works.
So back to the question, we have completely different customer groups. So the people that we aim for machine learning, for rendering, they would not have the choice between the SONM or iExec, because their applications will probably work only on SONM, because we provide you plain Linux and you may run everything you want there. And talking about the suppliers, the same situations. We understand what kind of suppliers we go for. We go for crypto miners with GPUs, because GPU is the most profitable device and it's good for computing. iExec is not supporting GPUs at this moment. Their plan is 2020.
Only CPUs?
Only CPUs and memory. So next, we go for data centers excessive capacity, and in that sense, they already go for data centers as well. And they have already some strong partnership with data centers. But nevertheless, and also we go for personal PCs, which is probably their case in the future as well, because currently they don't support like public contributions of the hardware. But the question is about the profitability. In our case, we take a lot of attention to make the solution profitable for the people who will contribute their hardware, because we honestly think that there is no free hardware on the planet. Because since the invention of crypto mining, anyone with a computer can do crypto mining with Monero, with GPU. So there are no free hardware, and the question is, what would be the profit of contributing your hardware to SONM, to Golem, or to iExec? In our case, we are working a lot to make this a guaranteed profit. We guarantee you a revenue of at least the mining level, because on SONM market we mix mining tasks and real tasks in the same way. We have special market structure for renting time. We have container approach. Everything in the system design is done in such a universal way that you may do everything there, and we may mix the tasks. So for people who will contribute the hardware to SONM system, we guarantee a revenue. They could be doing mining on their own, they could use SONM and receive the same money and probably more with the real tasks. But when they contribute to other projects, let's say Golem or iExec, currently they don't provide you the calculation of your revenues, neither they can provide you the guarantee of the revenue, because they cannot guarantee that the number of customers who will come will be enough to cover all the workers. And this is a question about the price. So this is about the economic incentive, because people with hardware, they want to earn money. So we, from our side, we offer like the profitability explanation and the solution. We will see what our other projects will offer.
So in SONM, suppliers' hardware will be used always.
Yes.
Yeah, no idle hardware, and we actually don't know how it will be solved in Golem or iExec, right?
The whole system design is done in such a way that they use idle hardware. And there is assumption that there is idle hardware, but I honestly disagree that there is idle hardware. There is no idle hardware on this planet. Even in the data centers, they are trying to utilize it at 100%. So what would be the idle hardware contributed to the systems? I don't know, probably personal computers at home, probably yes.
My notebook is doing nothing, but we are reading YouTube
But
chat.
your
It's
laptop,
kind of idle.
your laptop is nice, it's Apple, it's expensive, it's nice looking, it has a long battery life, but it's not good at performance.
Yes, I agree.
If you spend the same amount of money to buy a cheap hardware of the consumer grade, you can probably buy half a mining rig.
Yes, and I realized it.
And it will be 10 times more performant at computing.
Yeah.
So we technically can bring some here, as we previously mentioned, but there is no sense at all. This computer will never earn enough money to even pay for its price.
For electricity spent.
And then we go to the question, who will contribute the hardware and why? People with free idle laptops probably may do this, but what would be the profitability? This will be just a toy, or what it would be? If you like spend your time and launch some systems and try to earn money, and at the end of the month you get 50 cents, and you spend time switching it.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you spend the whole month switching it back and forth to the system and then releasing the resources, and after all you get 50 cents, you probably would be disappointed in this. So you probably, if you want to earn money, you probably want to contribute 100% of your power. And if you try to do it with Mac, you will realize that you earn, let's say, $5 at the end of the month. And this laptop costs more than 1,000.
Yeah.
So it will never pay for itself.
Yeah.
If you contribute to computer power. So who will do this? Professional, like private persons with idle hardware, it will not be possible to earn any real money out of it. But professional suppliers of the hardware, they will want to understand the profitability. And this is the key question. How do you guarantee any kind of revenue, any kind of income? So this is a question.
Yeah. Okay, let's go finish our list. Okay, how are your plans regarding ease of use of SONM? Will it be comparable to Google Cloud or AWS?
We provide an API in which you may use to completely automate the use of SONM. This is the aim of our design. The system will be used completely automatically by software developers and some special software. We provide a graphical interface where you may purchase a resource with 2 or 3 clicks, probably with 3 clicks. This is easy enough to purchase a resource. But after all, you have to understand, when you use Google Cloud or Azure or AWS, you may easily purchase the resource, an instance, but you have to be able to use it. You have to be able to use SSH or remote connect, deploy Linux or whatever there. This is like a must-have. So it will be easy enough. We work a lot to make the graphical interface easy. We work a lot to do the API easy. So yes, this is important for us.
Definitely. And I'm glad that we have released graphical interface. Now it's gonna be much easier. Question from Larry. Can SONM work as a VPN, and estimations on how the costs of that would be?
SONM itself is a platform of hosting, of renting an instance. So SONM itself is not providing VPN as a service, but you may rent an instance on SONM and then deploy a VPN server, open VPN on the rented instance, and have your private VPN server. And the price would be the market price. So this price will be at least as expensive as, let's say, Monero mining, so which is relatively very cheap. So if no one else except miners is willing to use this machine, you'll probably buy this for cheap, but anyway the person will receive more than just for mining. So this is how it works.
So the answer, yes.
Yes,
It's
yes, you can deploy VPN.
But about costs, market.
It would be market price, but probably it would be just above the price of the Monero mining. So it's really cheap, cheaper than in the cloud.
Okay, question about I would consider it as marketing questions. One thing I loved about your marketing was the video editing, but this really changed lately. Is the video editor gone? Could we have that back, please? It's a question from Linka. Okay, I think you mean about changing quality of the videos. I think you mean our social posts. We now experimenting with new social media format. It's like we are converting our blog posts to short presentation videos and posted on Twitter and actually on YouTube. Yes. And it's different format. So our editor is he's not gone. He's all right and he's doing his job. And you will get those beautiful, engaging videos, of course. And we are preparing video from Consensus Conference. It's just new format that we are trying, and we're going to improve this format. So don't worry about videos, and you'll get some high quality stuff later. And as I told before, after mainnet release, we're going to prepare some short stories that will describe SONM network in easy way. So if you would be 5 years old, you would understand. Don't worry.
Sounds good.
Yes, another question about website.
When will we launch our new website?
I think, okay, the design is almost ready. All the texts are almost ready. And now we are on the stage of improvement of design and all this stuff. And I think in June we will launch the new website. And actually the question was about will SONM start caring about search engine optimization and having a strong positive online presence? Search engine optimization is a crucial part of promoting our website. Of course, in our new website we will have some optimizations, but it's complicated question, because it's like if you use keyword SONM in Google, you will definitely get our website on the first line. If you use, I don't know, fog computing, you will get our website on the top 10 maybe. But if you search for video rendering or machine learning, it's kind of hard to get first places in this crowded area. And I don't know, I can't give any predictions how it will be and when we will get first positions on video rendering, machine learning, and our actual use cases. But SONM is already first on this keyword. Can you add something?
Probably,
to the website?
Probably was said enough.
Okay.
I don't know whether this is already public, but we are going to a major cloud conferences in the early July, and by that time we have a commitment, an internal commitment, to already have our new website operating. So it will be probably by the end of June or in the early beginning of the July. We have an internal commitment for this, and people are working hard to do this.
Okay, hey guys, can you please make a video demo for Crypto.is for those of us who can't take part in the testing for now?
Probably we will.
What kind of video?
Just a video like someone demonstrated what's going on. Let's say I am going to install this as a supplier. So here is I am doing this. Okay, I install this. Screencast probably, but not the screencast, you know, for the full system work, but just to give you a brief understanding.
Yeah, how to install it, how to use
it's probably, you see, he asked, it's not for installing, it's just for a person to understand and evaluate. Probably will, let's say, here we are using the wallet, here we go to the market, here we purchase a resource, oh, now we are fine, here we deploy the container, now it works, here we are built, so probably about this.
Yes, you'll get that kind of videos about how is SONM works. Okay, the next question. The next question from my list, a little bit paranoid. From anonymous user, I don't know his name. Is the location of SONM company in Russia, which country is not friendly enough to crypto? I'm a bit worried about it.
I don't think this is relevant for what we do, because in Russia we are just a location of software development company. We're just software development office. We just write the software. We don't do business. We don't promote crypto. We just write the software for the global presence. So I don't. If we were promoting, like, let's say, Bitcoin in Russia, and if we were promoting exchanging Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, or if we were promoting crypto mining as a service, or if we were selling mining rigs with GPUs which are considered like cryptography equipment which must be certified by the government, in that case we probably will have problems and issues. But we just write the software for the open source. This is like an activity which is not prohibited. So this is fine for us.
So it looks like some foreign company using brains of Russian developers.
It's not even like the foreign company, just Russian brains are writing some software. Yeah. It's nothing bad about this. We are not doing a business. The whole SONM is currently not really doing a business. We just write the software, and the business is done in a decentralized way. We are not part of this business, so nothing to be, I think, nothing wrong here.
So supplier is going to make business.
Yeah, we don't like, we don't harm our government. We don't use the technologies which are considered bad, like, and don't do things like mining or trading with cryptocurrency, which is bad, but just write the software, and this is fine.
Hi Sonata, I'm glad you like the Q&A and music. Hi. Okay, why do we hear so little of Sergey, the CEO of SONM? I think every time we broadcasting, we have this kind of
yeah,
question.
This is a traditional question. Where is Sergey? Sergey has a lot of work. He is arranging meetings with interesting companies. He is doing a lot of research. He is ahead of us all in the future, so he has a lot of work.
In the timeline?
Yeah.
Oh, it's complicated. It's gonna blow my mind.
Yeah, sure it will.
I think someday we will have Sergey and question and answer session, if we will have time.
Sergey takes part in the software architecture development and in the product development. He just silently works with us. So when you see us releasing CryptoYas, there are part of the efforts done by Sergey himself. So you basically know about him. Just read the press release about the CryptoYas we just released. He taking part in it.
Okay, the last question on our list. It's not actually a question. It's your Telegram chat support agents are the best. Thank you for often go to the chat and answer our questions. Special thanks for Q&A sessions. Yes, our Telegram support team are the best. We really appreciate their work, and I really appreciate Igor, how he always how keen he is to answer your questions.
And I appreciate how you do this whole Q&A sessions. It's already like a, how to say,
thank you.
How we go tradition, how we do this Q&A.
It became
you
tradition.
do it very well.
Thank you. And I want to thank you all guys for watching this question and answer session, for answering these questions, beautiful questions, even when Moon is beautiful questions. We do appreciate all your attention and time. And thank you for your support. Without your support, it will be harder. It will be harder, much harder to work and create all this crypto EAS thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we didn't answer someone's question, please excuse us, because there is a stream of questions. It is hard to always understand them on the go. So if we didn't answer some of the questions and you think this is important, just go to our chats and ask it again. You may mention my nick there, and we will answer you in the chat. So we are doing this all days, every day. So be free to do this.
Okay, guys, we have to finish this session. I want to thank you all. I already did it. Please give a thumbs up to this video if you liked it, and leave a comment. Hey, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.